So with the second half of the season kicking into full swing, we now move in to round 12 of F1 Season 6 here of RPL. Today, we are here at Zandvoort in the Netherlands. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ironwolf here, and we are set for another action-packed event here in RPL F1. So, last week was in Belgium. The original top three was NRX Flynn, Cryptic, and Elson4G, literally taking it to the last lap of the event. But because of a penalty that Flynn got for unsportsmanlike conduct and dangerous driving, Cryptic was declared the winner. Luke was second. Now, Jack would have been originally third with Flynn 4, but Flynn got his penalty reduced from 5 to 3. So, Flynn is third. Indy Drivers Championship, we have a brand new leader, L74G. I kid you not. Yes, you heard it right. L74G is leading with 115 points over TB with 108, and Scyther is in third with 105. In the Constructors, Red Bull continues their lead with 318 points over McLaren with 237. Mercedes sitting in third with 203. So let's take a look at the drivers that are going to be actively involved in this event. As you can see, we have the lobby host, Eon, as Luke is not here tonight. So he is in the AlphaTauri. We have Egg in the Alpine with DPT Paul, a Mercedes F1 Tier 2 racer. Oh wait, no, equal driver in the other Alpine. TB has FRA Ads, another equal competitor in the McLaren. Jack stepping up into Red Bull. Midfield Maestro, a reserve, making his debut in Haas. Payax promoted up to Aston Martin from Williams after KVS was dropped. Alfie, also a tier 2 and equal driver, one of the two, in Alfa Romeo. Red Fire Tiger filling in for Corey in the other Aston Martin. Beatnik in the other AlphaTauri. Cryptic and Maxwell in the Mercedes. Bourbon in the Red Bull. And we'll get the rest of these guys once we load in to Q1. So here we go. Now, I believe I have marked everyone except for 3. Paul got in the Ferrari, DeChiller in the Ferrari, and Zakaria is in the other Alfa Romeo. So, currently only 3 spots are left open. Williams not having any drivers sent, mainly because, well, both of them are in the Aston Martins. Because, well, KVS was demoted to reserve for being inactive, and Corey not available to race. And meanwhile, the last car that is yet to be filled is the other Haas. So, we are loading up with 17 individuals here for Q1, as it currently is, unless anyone joins. The bottom 2 will be eliminated out of Q1. Now, who is coming out first? And the first person to come out on deck is Midfield Maestro. Now, Midfield Maestro, one of several drivers brand new into F1. He is one of the reserve drivers in the Ferrari Academy. Like I said, there's so many people involved in that are newcomers to this. FR8 Ads is involved. He is an equal from McLaren. DPT Paul Williams, an equal. He's in the Alpine. Alfie. Alfie is the Prima driver in F2 for Ferrari, and he is in this event. So 4 drivers making their first step into the foray of F1. Well, here we go, as we are going to go on board with midfield. Let's see what he's going to be capable of in the Haas car. As one of the Aston Martins is coming out. That is either Red Fire or Payox. And that is going to be Red Fire coming out on track. And we have an Alfa Romeo coming out now. That is going to be, whoa, a little squirrely on midfield's part, but saves it. Nice save by Paul there in turn 7. Midfield, I'm sorry. Why did I say Paul? Grip there, but he keeps him in line, and despite that mess up, he does set the benchmark time of a 17.0. I think if he didn't have that slide, he probably would have been in the mid-16s. So only 17 drivers in F1. This is our, I will say, crazily, this is our lowest attendance so far this season in RPL F1. We've had pretty much almost always 20 drivers since the beginning. Now let's see what Red's gonna have. He's gonna have a little dirty air coming out of the last corner in midfield's bad air. But let's see what Red's got as he is gonna come across the line. Okay, I was actually very wrong on the timing. Well, midfield 13-2, and Red Fire puts it top now with a 12-1. Okay, so I was very wrong on the clock. In honesty. And here comes the car now across the line. And it's only a 12-4. Now TB, by the way. Now I will mention TB, by the way. He is second in the championship standings, and he will reclaim the lead after this event if he scores, if he gets 6 or better. Because Luke, the championship leader, is not here tonight. Scyther, who's in 3rd, he's also not here tonight. And Egg now goes to the top of the board with an 11-7. Egg, by the way, raced earlier tonight in ART Grand Prix in F2, and TV smashes that time board out of the way with a 10-9. TV was a little worried about how this track will fare with him he did say that this track is not favored by the McLaren car. So it is going to be interesting to see how he will fare so far. It looks like Cryptic has spun out on the exit of turn 7, as you can see in the background. Beatnik, by the way, he got his time in, and it is only an 11.8. So Beatnik in the AlphaTauri only 15 milliseconds off of Egg's time, as he goes wide to avoid the Alfa Romeo of Alfie, who invalidated, and so Alfie is going to have to redo his run. In the background, there's DPT Paul. He has this is, like I said earlier, this is his debut event. Let's see how the Mercedes equal driver will fare. DPT Paul, Racing Williams in equal. Let's see, was he compete? So let's take a gander and let's find out how well he will do. And actually, DPT has wrecked it in turn 4. So DPT Paul will be one of the cars out of the event. So DPT Paul will be starting dead last. Looks like for the race, it's going to be drive for majority, but it's going to rain at the end, apparently. Reading the chat. And let's see, looking at more people across lines. Alfie, 14.2, slowest of the field. Zakaria, 12.4. And Cryptic on top of the board with a 10.4. Let's see, a lot of these guys are coming up, or getting some runs in. And Paul God, by the way, puts it second fastest, a 10.6. Very nice job for Paul God. That's basically Paul God. He's been growing quite comfortable racing a Ferrari ever since F1X departed from RPL earlier in the season at France, which was back in round 7, which was back in round 8. So Paul God, this is his 4th race in the Ferrari, and he has done pretty good. Jack, by the way, a 10.5. Now Jack, by the way, loves hanging around in Red Bull. A 2-time F1 Tier 2 champion. Yeah, a 2-time F1 Tier 2 champion. The Season 8 F2 champion. I mean, he's also in equal and in F1 Tier 2 again, hoping to get some more championships and to surpass L74G as the most decorated champion in RPL. And Bourbon had a malfunction as Maxwell now goes fastest, almost puts it into the 109s. A very powerful lap by Maxwell. Looks like Bourbon had a malfunction. He's going to have to try again. So is Eon. Eon invalidated. And currently... And so is Payox. Payox is going to have to go again. He had a mishap. interestingly, Jack has mentioned it. Luke, who is not here for tonight's event, has broken the streak. Ever since Luke's first appearance. So I need to figure out when was his first appearance in F1. He has never missed an RPL F1 race, and now he has. So that big streak is pretty much done. And Eon bails off to the pits. And it looks like Bourbon's probably gonna. Looks like Bourbon's gonna go for one more attempt. Payox, by the way, just puts that ass in 9th fastest with an 11.8. But remember, only the bottom two are knocked out of Q1, and currently at the moment, DPT Paul is one of them. But who will? So, probably once Bourbon, the Chiller, and Eon get their laps in, Midfield Maestro is going to be the one at risk of being knocked out of the event. So Paul God, by the way, he has Paul God has called it a qualifying event in Q1, and he is P4, so he is most definitely through to Q2. Midfield is gonna really, oh jeez, the Chiller showing the mastery of invalidating laps. I'm just gonna admit this. When it comes to qualifying, I think the Chiller has invalidated more laps out of any driver in here, and whoa, saves it. Almost does a DPT Paul, almost wrecks it in turn 4. Damn. But like I was saying about the Chiller, I think out of all the RPL F1 drivers so far, I think the Chiller has invalidated more times than any driver. I mean, literally, the Chiller, the master of invalidation. That's literally what the poor bloke is. I mean, I feel sorry for him. Anyway, so TV has wrapped it up too. He's P6. He's through. His rookie teammate FRA Ads, who is an RPL equal for McLaren, he's P7 right now with an 11.3. So he's definitely got some good enough to get into Q2. Probably the top 4, Bourbon. Bourbon, by the way, 10-1, by the way. Maxwell, Bourbon, Cryptic, Jack, those guys are definitely through to Q2. But currently, but anyways, currently, most likely, Midfield Maestro is going to probably be joining DPT Paul out of Q1. But Alfie and Zakaria are on the bubble. They're on the bubble to possibly not get it, in either. Bourbon's called it. He's P2, so he's definitely good enough. And Maestro improves, but only by a quarter of a second. He's got to get at least 8/10 to put himself into for Q2. As Alfie goes faster than Zakaria, by the way. The Chiller, by the way, 10.9. He is a millisecond clear of TB, and Aeon goes ahead into P10. So that knocks Maestro to the bottom 2. Zakaria is in is at risk, but there's less than 2 minutes to go in Q1, so unless Maestro pulls something out of his head, he ain't making it. But Alfie, by the way, almost a 10th ahead of Zakaria. So Alfie's been doing pretty decent so far, getting the grips with the Alfa Romeo. See one of the Aston Martins stopping to try to probably go for one final run. That is the Chiller. Moving over. There's Maestro moving out of the way. So, yeah, Maestro is definitely going to be done. There isn't going to be enough time for him to get a new set of tires and to start a new lap. So Maestro is out, and he has been hit by Eon, and midfield now definitely dead last. TB talking to himself in the chat saying whoever that fake TV guy is, he's doing a great job. Man, feeding your ego just a tiny bit, buddy? Anyway, so here comes Alfie. He's gonna dash off across the line and improves just a little bit more. He's still P14, so he's definitely alright. And Red Fire also improves, but is only 200s off of his teammate Payox. The last one to finish up is going to be FRA Ads. Ads is the last car to finish up. So, we say goodbye to DPT Paul, who couldn't get a lap in, wrecked out in turn 4. Midfield just couldn't get any quicker. So he is done. We got 2 done. Who will go from Q2 to Q3? We'll find out right after this. Alright, so now we move on into Q2 now. Well, this just has me curious. We have 7 viewers watching. Red Fire says whoever the Red Fire Tiger guy is, he's doing a shit job. Really? Oh, well, we gotta get Alfie back. He just disconnected. Alright, so it looks like first up is going to be... Wow! Mercedes or Cryptic is out first. Let's see, how are these people viewing this? I wonder where Polygon's #1 fan is. I haven't seen Red Raider put anything in yet. Maybe he might be running late. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe Red Raider's running a little late, perhaps. But anywho, as he makes his way around the penultimate corner to begin his first flying lap for Q2, we go on board with Cryptic now. Last week's winner through controversial and crazy means. Put on a huge fight against Anorex Flynn right down to the last lap. But a penalty bumped Cryptic to P1, and he was given the win. So now Cryptic has had a bit of a tumultuous season. By the way, he was in Alfa Romeo last year, then transferred over to Aston Martin for a few races, got given a shot in Mercedes after Egg departed. Now he's had his moments, but Cryptic is starting to show his strength in the Mercedes car. Now, as Cryptic comes across the line, he does a 10-9. Now, here comes TB. How will he respond? As he is on a medium tires run, and it is only an 11-3. Next across the line is... Wait, no, that's Eon. He's on a new lap. He's on a lap. Okay, actually, it is Red Fire. Red Fire is going to be next of the time people to put a lap in. Red Fire also on a medium tire, and he's only got a 12-2. Meg's also thinking the same thing. Medium stint as he comes across the line. And it's only a 12-1. So with Q2, those from 11th to 15th will be knocked out. And Polygon comes across with an 11-2. There comes the now. Flies across the line. And it's only a 12-4. Not good. Not good for the AlphaTauri car. Zakaria 12-1. Here comes the Chiller. Only an 11-4. But let's be honest. Whoa, and Zakaria is now starting dead last. He spun out at the exit of turn 1 and has been immediately disqualified for blocking the pit lane. I mean, literally, Zakaria didn't even get the chance to spin the car around, and he's immediately disqualified. That sucks. Well, Cryptic has improved his time to a 10-6. And TB. Wait, no. Well, actually, Eon has improved now to a 12-0. Well, now only 4 drivers yet to come out. So Zakaria DQ'd. He is going to be in P15 now. But the question is, who will join him? If I am a betting person, I am going to say, and this is a big shot in the dark, I'm going to say Alfie. I'm going to say Alfie, the 2 Astons, and one of the... Whoa, who just wrecked? That's Bourbon that went around and into the wall. Anyways, I'm gonna say the other alpha of Alfie, and oh, Red Fire's wrecked. Red Fire has crashed. And whew, look at that nasty amount of debris. That is right at the start of the DRS. So Red Fire definitely out. So, well, this is going to be interesting now. Basically, to these guys, to drive to put Fire into the bottom 4, they got to beat a 2. And currently, only 4 have yet to set a lap, being Bourbon, Ads, Maxwell, and Jack. And they're definitely going to be capable of doing this. And As, by the way, 11th office. As is recently qualifying. He's a few of his teammate so far, pretty much all the way through. And Bourbon now goes to the top of the board with a 10-4. And Maxwell and 1 millisecond behind his. So Jack, the only driver yet to set a lap, and currently at this present time, Zakaria DQ'd so Zakaria DQ'd after spinning out. Red Fire wrecked at the beginning of the first DRS zone, and currently, ones that will be at risk of being knocked out is Payox, Eon, Alfie. Those 3 are going to be put into the bottom 3 now, with Beatnik and Egg at risk. Ad should be somewhat comfortable to be where he is. I mean, Ads has a 4/10 gap between him and Egg, so it should be comfortably enough to put him through to Q3. Now, Beatnik, he's going to have to be sweating a little bit because he is at risk. He is at risk of being knocked out, as Jack definitely does go for fastest. Although that time is not that pleasant. Especially with those last 3 numbers in this time. Unless he lives on that chaos, which I think that's a bit of a bad omen. But Eon, he's got some work to do. Alfie's out on track. So is Payox. He's back out on track. Maxwell's out for another lap. This time doing a soft tire run. Soft tires. Bourbon's called it. Cryptic's called it. They're through to Q3. Now what's going on with Eon? Let's see what he can do. So 2.5 minutes to go. Alfie, Eon, Payox are in the bottom 3. Red Fire crashed. Crashed in the exit of turn 10. Zakaria spun out in turn 1, was sitting in the pit at the exit of the pit lane, and was immediately disqualified for it. Maxwell in the pits, he has called it. He's safe. He's definitely safe for Q3. Now Eon, let's see what he's got. He has a 12-0. And he's 3/10 up, so it will put him at the moment. See, at the moment, it'll put him P9 right now. It'll knock his teammate off. Whoa! Gets really squirrely at the penultimate corner. Nice save there. So, but unfortunately, that killed the momentum. So Eon's gonna have to try again. And he's only got 1 lap to do it. And Alfie, by the way, puts it P10, knocks Beatnik to the bottom 3. Look at Alfie's time, only 1 millisecond off of Egg's time. I mean, these guys are definitely going desperate. They're going for soft tires to try to make themselves get into Q3. But remember, they're the top 10. These are the tires they will be stuck with for the race. And Payox has gone to the pits. Payox is done. So Payox is knocked out of Q2. So Payox joins Red Fire, Aston Martin out of Q2. Here comes Eon now. Puts it 8th fastest. Knocks Alfie back to the bottom 3. Look at Beatnik. He's over 7/10 up. This is gonna put him at least P7 if he's able to. Can he maintain it with Sector 3? Here he comes. Here he comes and across the line, and it is P5. Good God. Good God almighty. Beatnik up into P5. 3/10 clear of his teammate. Here comes Ads now. Puts a P6. Knocks Eon down to 10th. Egg improving. 3/10 up, but he might, unless he puts a decimating run in the Sector 3, he may not make it. Here he comes around the final corner. Can Egg beat Eon off? And he does. And Eon's wrecked it hard in the pit entry wall. But here comes Alfie now. Whoa. And Alfie lost all of that momentum. but it isn't going to help anyways. Alfie's knocked out. Eon knocked out. The Chiller, by 0.04 of a second, is clear to Q3. Egg made it through to Q3 as well. So Bourbon fastest, Cryptic second, Maxwell third. Who will get pulled from this group? Because let's take a look at our top 10. Let's see, like literally Bourbon, Cryptic, Maxwell, Jack, Beatnik, Ads, Polygon, TB, Egg, and the Chiller. So, we'll see what happens. We'll find out right after this. Alright, looks like everybody's out, and let's see what happened. Let's see who's going to set the first benchmark. Looks like it'll be Beatnik. 11-3. Maxwell almost puts into the 9s. The Chiller now. Chiller 10-9, 10-7. Jack 9 milliseconds off. Bourbon starts his lap. TB 10-7. Here comes Ads. Ads 10-5. Comes Cryptic. 10-2. Polygod. 10-5. What's with this egg and bourbon? As Tequila and Jack have a little moment, and looks like Egg had to abandon due to invalidation. So Egg's gonna have to try again. So Maxwell currently top of the board, but can Bourbon answer? No, Bourbon invalidates again, this time out of the penultimate corner. And he's going to try again. So this is going to be interesting. So, by the way, just want to mention on so far this season, we've had 8 different winners in 11 races so far this season. Currently, there's a 3-way tie for the most races won, and that is between Scyther, Flynn, and Bourbon. With Flynn, his last race wins, it was Portimao and then France. Scyther's last wins was Spain and Silverstone. And Bourbon, his was Hungary and Austria. And Cryptic goes fastest now. 200s up on Maxwell's time. Cryptic, as I mentioned before, the 8th different winner in F1 Season 6. Now, Maxwell, by the way, his last win was all the way back in Imola. So Imola was the last time Maxwell won an event, won a race. TB, by the way, Monaco was his last win. But will we have some surprises on who will win this race? I mean, in terms of the top 3, I mean, two of my choices are already in the top 3, being Cryptic and Maxwell, because Mercedes bias, why not? Bourbon, I think, is going to be in that top 3 as well. I mean, Jack is going to put in a really strong showing, but I mean, he's just gonna barely miss it. I mean, literally, I'm just saying it literally. The top 3 are separated by not even 0.04 of a second. And now the drivers all chilling back for just a little bit, as we get to see who will be going to come out for their final for their final lap, and looks like it's going to be Red Bull and Mercedes. And I'm thinking it is Cryptic. Well, we know the Mercedes is Cryptic, but is it Bourbon? Yes, it is Bourbon. So Bourbon and Cryptic come out nearly identical to each other. Now Bourbon, by the way, not in F1 season 6 yet, as of yet. But he is going to be in F1 season 7 competing in Red Bull. Cryptic, by the way, not signed yet. It's not signed yet is not signed yet. We shall see what will happen. The question is, who is going to make the first jump? Will it be Bourbon? Will it be the Chiller? Will it be Cryptic? Will it be Bourbon? But Bourbon off and away. Cryptic, same thing. Off and he's off. As Bourbon is making his way through this field. He is fastest. 24.3. 24.3 in Sector 1. Cryptic, I didn't catch to see how close he matched it. Anyways, here we go for Sector 2. Bourbon, 48.4. And Cryptic going slightly faster, but Bourbon is going even faster. He's 2/10 up on Cryptic in Sector 2. As Bourbon comes around, we gotta see a 1:09. And we do. 9.6 by Bourbon. And Cryptic, a 9.8. So, Cryptic with an invalidation. Well, no invalidation, but Maxwell does have an invalidation. So he is going to be done. Egg makes it. He's going to get a lap just in time. And looks like Paul God is going to be the first to cross the line of these guys. Paul God, only 5th fastest. But now, can Jack answer? Can Jack respond? Gets loose out of the penultimate corner. And is only 3rd fastest. That little wobble killed his momentum. And Beatnik, only 4th. TB comes across, 6th fastest. Maxwell can't do anything. Cryptic. No, nothing there. Bourbon collects pole position. So Bourbon gets pole here in Zandvoort. Here comes Ads now. And Ads only 7th. There comes Egg now. Cross the line. Puts it 9th fastest. And that is it. Bourbon pole position. Wait for the Chiller. I'm not sure why you pull over to the side for those cars. They're AI. But anyways, so Bourbon, pole position, great work. So this is going to be a unique field. It is a Red Bull and Mercedes row 1 and a Red Bull Mercedes row 2. And surprising, we have pretty much the same thing for 5th through 8th. A Ferrari and McLaren making up row 3, and a McLaren and Ferrari making up row 4. So there it is. Bourbon is the winner of getting pole position. A 9.6. Almost 3/10 clear of Cryptic. So now, we now move forward to the race now. So now we wait to see if we are ready to go. We just wait for wait for Eon to go first, and then we'll be ready to go. And here we go. So race will start it up in a couple seconds, and we'll have our formation lap. Alright, so here we go, off for the formation lap. So let's review again of our starting grid. So row one, it is Bourbon and Cryptic making up the making up the front row. Then we have Jack and Maxwell making up row 2. We have Paul God and TB making up row 3. Az and the Chiller making up row 4. Egg and Beatnik making up row 5. Eon and Alfie, first 2 cars knocked out a Q2. They make up row 6. Then is an Aston Martin row 7 with Payox and Red Fire. Then we have Zakaria and DPT in row 8. And lastly, Midfield Maestro rounds out the grid. And well, by the looks of it, we have a random in this race, so we're gonna pay no mind to that dingbat. So whoever that is. So anyways, let's take a look here. So Beatnik and Egg, only ones on softs. Paul, Zakaria, Red Fire, and Alfie chancing it with the hard compound tires, while everyone else are on the mediums. So 36 laps is the distance. This should be a unique race in itself. Pole time was 1:09. Probably fastest lap. I'm probably gonna say somewhere around the 13s. Minute 13. Maybe minute 12s. So we'll see what happens as everyone lines up in position. And we will be set to go. It is a very short length to the turn 1 as the flag lights come on to start the Dutch Grand Prix. It's lights out and off we go. Well, it looks like Bourbon gets a really good start. Jack with a phenomenal start. Cryptic caught napping as they make their way into turn number 1. And we go 3 wide with Ferrari. Snow the 3 wide behind. And it looks like Alfie is spun out in turn 1. As these cars make their way through into turn number 4 now, up the high banks here as Eon battling with his teammate. The Alpha Tauri is battling off of P9. But Eon comes out just a little worse for wear. But as they make their way around through these areas, it looks like it's getting quite simple and easy. As right with Paul got up the butt of his teammate, but the Red Bulls pull out ahead into turn 1. Bourbon leading off from Jack. So Cryptic hanging on in P3. Maxwell didn't get far from where he was. And as these guys are making their way through, as Paul gets past the random, that's for P14. Looks like Red Fire had a malfunction in as well, because Red Fire and Alfie are far behind the rest of the field. But as the field finishes up lap number 1, it is Bourbon, Jack, Cryptic, Maxwell, the Chiller, TB, the Chiller, Paul God, Az, Beatnik, and Eon, making up the top 10. We're on board with Cryptic now as he is trying to stay in tow with the Red Bull. But Bourbon, by the way, not pulling that much of a gap. Bourbon only 5/10 clear of Jack right now. And Cryptic still he's hanging within 5/10 of Jack. And then there's a slight little gap between Maxwell and TB. TB starting to slip just a little bit. I mean, and it looks like, oh, well, the show has had an issue. He gets into a little contact with Ads as they battle for P7. Looks like there might have been contact between the two teammates as the Chiller ferociously fighting against Ads right now. The Chiller really does not want to get shown up by an equal driver. I mean, the Chiller has been racing in RPL F1 since the very beginning, and he's really showing up his stuff as the random goes around in the penultimate corner. So who gives a crap about the random? But DRS now enabled, and Jack 7/10 behind his teammate, and Cryptic within 7/10 of Jack. It looks like everyone is staying close in tow, to say the least. Let's take a look at the position. Let's take a look at the position counter here. Looks like Jack has gone up one. Cryptic loses one. Well, it looks like the biggest movers right now is towards the back with Payox, Sicaria, DPT Paul, and midfield, Alfie, the worst for wear, losing 6 spots. Question is Jack going to make a move? Is Jack thinking about perhaps maybe making a challenge to switch up and go for the lead? That is the big question if he is thinking about it. I mean, Jack has yet to win in RPL in RPL F1 this season. I believe he has a win last season. So we'll have to see if Jack is willing to make the move to try to go in, to try to make a switch up and take the lead for now. Bourbon and Jack, they're both on the same strategy, both on the medium tires. So that's just going to be interesting to see what they can do. Cryptic and Maxwell doing the exact same thing. Now which one of these guys is on the soft tires? It looks like, oh, the Chiller's on the track. The Chiller goes off in turn 8. Rejoins in a precariously safe manner. But the Chiller, who was hanging in P7, now falls all the way down to 12th as Egg goes wide into turn 10. So Egg having a little slip up into turn 10. The Chiller coming out worse for wear again. And now Paul God on his own, but he has some breathing room as Ads behind him is only 1.6 seconds behind. Now Cryptic has taken the fastest lap of the race as Paul God looks to make an ambitious move. Nope, does not have enough to make a move onto TB. And the Chiller has now gone to the pits already. So Ferrari's luck starting to go down the tube just a little bit on the Chiller's end. But Paul God still maintaining firm. Meanwhile, the top 4 cars within 1.6 seconds of each other. I will note that. Bourbon 5/10 clear of Jack. Jack is 8/10 clear of Cryptic, and Cryptic is only 4/10 clear of his teammate. These guys are staying in pretty close tight with each other, and the question is, where will Paul God make an ambitious move against TB? And TB has had a very good season so far in RPL F1. He has won in a McLaren in Monaco. The very next week, his teammate Joseph Loki won in Baku. In what was a dream 2-week streak for McLaren. But it is a 4-horse dance between the Red Bulls and the Mercedes drivers. Red Bulls staying close to knit, and same with Mercedes. They're closely compact to each other. But I'm thinking perhaps if Cryptic isn't attempting to try to catch the Red Bulls, Maxwell's probably going to be saying, "Hey, let me through. I can catch him." I mean, Maxwell does have the fastest lap of the race right now. Not much action by the looks of it, but we are going to see a little fight between Paul God and TB for P5. This time they're much closer than I think they are. Yeah, they are. There they are right in the front of our screens. They're pretty close to it. Here goes Paul God down the inside. And very ambitious, very strong, capable move. But TB's fighting off as they make their way into turns 2 and 3. And Paul God backs off. TB maintains P5. That was a very scrap between Paul God and TB. Paul God gave it his best, but TB had a better exit out of turn 1. Looks like we're gonna have a little round 2 of this fight. But because of their scrap, Ads is catching up now. Here goes Paul God again. Will he make an ambitious move to go into turn 11? No, he does not. He stays out of it. He's gonna wait for the next DRS zone to make a move. Meanwhile, a bit further back, Beatnik's gonna be under pressure from Payok. Payok's in P10. As Maxwell once again takes the fastest lap of the race. As Maxwell makes his move on Cryptic. Maxwell now leads the way for the Mercedes crew. Puts it into P3 now, and Paul God still fight with TB now. This time, TB. Oh boy, this is gonna get nasty. Oh Lord, Paul God really this time put on more heat into the fire. And there's side by side into turn 7. Oh God, and TB bails out. Very smart on TB's part. Paul God was relentless. And finally gets P5. It looks like the team order game for Maxwell and Cryptic definitely worked out because Maxwell is getting slightly closer to Jack now. This is going to be a battle for P2 if Maxwell can keep up and put a little more in the pressure on Jack's part. Looks like he's staying up tight. And look, here we go again. Round 4. This time TB goes to the inside and he gets P5 back. Round 4 between these guys. These guys are really just going at it. That's for sure. Meanwhile, quite a bit further back, going into turn 4, Zakaria and DPT Paul battling for P12, by the way, and Zakaria comes out ahead. Or is he? There goes Paul, trying to put some pressure onto Zakaria. Zakaria holds his ground and stays P12 for right now. Meanwhile, Jack starting to lose grip with Bourbon. Oh, maybe not. Still staying in that groove as Maxwell is still in pursuit. And Cryptic is starting to lose ground on his teammate. This fight is really going to be going in for a little while. Not a question, but the question is when the drivers do pit, who's going to make the first move? That is going to be a big question. Who will make the first move when the pit window comes available? Let's see, one little fight let's take a peek at right now. Payox and Beatnik, by the way. Payox recently promoted up as Jack, by the way, just switches positions with Bourbon. So Jack will inherit the lead here on lap 9. So it looks like Red Bull team orders plays a factor as Bourbon has switched positions over with Jack. And now here goes Maxwell thinking of a move, but no, here goes Bourbon thinking of eyeing a peek on his teammate. But Bourbon stays P2 and Maxwell right up on the tail in P3 right now. I mean, there's battles all over. It's very hard to track them all as Zakaria loses P13 to Red Fire going into turn 1. I mean, there's so many battles to follow. I mean, literally, we have a 4-way fight for the lead. We have a 3-way fight for 5th. And then we have a 2-car fight. Then we have a 2-car fight, maybe a 3-car fight for P8. There's so much to think over on what will happen where. Well, anyways, Maxwell still trying to put some pressure onto the Red Bulls. The Red Bulls are just shaking off that pressure. Meanwhile, Paul God eyeing up TB again. And this time Paul God, well, the question is, will he hold it? He's in P5 again. That is the question. Will he hold it? That's the question. I mean, the top 4, they are really stretching it away from these guys. The gap between Cryptic and Polga right now, 6 seconds clear. And then with that 3-car fight, by the way, Ads, who's at the back end of that, is 7.2 seconds clear of Eon, who's in P8. So, looking at these 17 cars right now, once that lead crosses the line, the guy in last, which is Alfie, is in turn 5. That's how far spread out all these guys are. I mean, bear in mind, midfield and Alfie and the Chiller too, had the pit because of damage-related issues. I mean, I think so far, this has been pretty standard and clean so far, this event. As Alfie clears Maestro for second to last. Just seeing that on the screens. But we're still keeping focus as we go to that nice helicopter shot. As we stay focused on the top 4 cars. I mean, literally, this is going to be the fight of the event. That's for sure. I mean, there's no other fights that are going to come close to these guys. That's for sure. Let's go on board with Bourbon right now. As you can see, Jack right in there. Move to the rear end right here. As you can see, the 2 Mercedes right there. Still on point with these guys. And Bourbon still keeping it strong as TB has cleared Paul God again. Those 2 have been scrapping it pretty much all race. I think pretty much ever since DRS kicked on, Paul God and TB have been fighting for P5 pretty much ever since. And Paul has wrecked. And we have a VSC deployed. Paul has wrecked right by the pit entrance. And right around where the Chiller is, that's where he wrecked. So a VSC, but now it is a full safety car. Safety car deployed and the Chiller coming in to get a free pit stop. But now, what is going to happen in regards to these guys? The top 4. I mean, literally, there's going to be double stacks most likely if they all decide to pit. And Bourbon has decided to stay out. Maxwell and Jack are coming in. Jack speeds in the pits. So Jack speeds in the pits. That's going to be 5 seconds on Jack's part. Jack going on to the hard compound tire, looking to finish off the race on that hard compound tire, and Maxwell in P4 on the soft compound tire, which means he is going to have to pit again. He won't have to pit another time. Now, safety car has caught with the field, and it is midfield. Midfield is lapped, by the way, as Bourbon is leading the way. Cryptic is in P2. Did all the others pit too? Or did they not pit yet? Let's take a look. Yeah, they have all pitted. TB on another set of mediums. Paul got softs. Add softs. Zacharias stayed out on his hards. Eon on mediums. Pack softs. Egg medium. Beatnik medium. And Jack has come in. And he is going to serve that 5 second. He is going to get off of those hards and onto another set of mediums. Now he did change to another set of tires, so going back to a new set of mediums, he is going to be good for I think he should be okay for the remainder of the race. But unfortunately, Jack is going to be and Beatnik purposely slowed down in front. And Beatnik slows down in front of Red Fire. Red Fire almost crashed into him to allow Jack to get into. In front, and Beatnik allowed Jack to be P11. And I think, an Egg just went off the track to let Jack through into P10. I don't know. I have no idea. So basically drivers are allowed to go off track to let others in. I mean, personally, I think that rule should be abolished and not allowed, because they need to stay where they are. Because I think that's basically fixing the race to give certain drivers an advantage. So safety car should be coming in this time. Safety car is in. Bourbon in control of the field. He's got Cryptic behind, Maxwell third, TB in 4. Looks like Jack had a malfunction. Yeah, Jack passing multiple cars. He spun out. He shouldn't be allowed to regain these positions. Yeah, he spun out. He shouldn't be allowed those positions back, so he's got to fall all the way back to P13 as chaos has descended on the field, and Maxwell's spun out in turn 1. Maxwell falls all the way back to last. So Maxwell, the disaster has hit him again. This is now Maxwell's 4th week in a row of disasters. And Jack has basically, in not even a lap, just went from P13 all the way to P6, and the stewards have noted of Jack of passing multiple cars under safety car. And Payok's now in trouble. And Payok spins out in turn 1. Looks like Egg's having some issues as well. He's falling all the way to P10. Maxwell's already back up into the points now in P9. Chasing Zakaria now. Now Bourbon pulling away from Cryptic. 1.3 seconds. Now Maxwell gets in and clears Zakaria up into P8 now. Now here comes Maxwell getting clear of Eon, gets himself into P7 now. Maxwell starting a recovery charge. Egg falling over, and Egg has crashed into the wall. And has another safety car. And Alfie, just caught Alfie crossing the white line to get into the pits. That's not good. That's not a fun thing. But now, this safety car is going to work on Bourbon and Cryptic's part. These two haven't pitted. I know Cryptic and Polgot have. But in Paul got it, but in TB's case, TB can get into a different set of tires and be alright. They're staying out. Oh, they're staying out because of the rain. They think the rain is going to show up. This rain's going to show up and change the field to inters. I forgot about that. Let's see if we can try to get one of these guys to see if there is going to be rain showing up. Let's try to get one of them. Ah. Well, Zakaria has just told me that, Zakaria has told me that the rain is imminent 5 minutes out. It looks like Egg, his retirement is because red fire hit him and wrecked him, supposedly. See what happens here. We are back underway. And it looks like Polgog gets caught napping on the restart. Loses third and fourth. Actually, loses third to TB. May lose fourth to ads. Maxwell, by the way, clears Jack for P6. And Jack gets into the back of Maxwell. And the rain is starting to fall. Payox has crashed in turn 5. But no safety car deployed yet. That is going to work in the favor as the rain is coming down. Now Bourbon and Cryptic on 25 lap old medium tires. Well, 22 lap old medium tires. Ads, by the way, clearing TB for P3 now. I mean, literally, an equal driver in the podium place right now. Equal showing up. An equal driver showing up on the main guys. As Payox has called it. He's out. But Payox wrecked out of turn 5. It looks like the Chiller and Zakaria come in. It looks like they are going to try an intermediates. They're going to go for it. So they're the first ones for inters. But the question is, how will the others respond? Is the track wet enough for that to happen? DRS is enabled. Maxwell has decided to take a chance. And Maxwell going on to the Inter, so Mercedes makes the mark. That's decided to risk it. So Maxwell will come out. He is going to be in P10, right a little bit behind Red Fire. And Scyther has just chimed in. He says some people may run out of fuel without a safety car. We'll see what happens, I guess. As Paul trying to put some pressure on TB. And meanwhile, Paul is being pressured by Jack. Rain is still coming down. And now they are coming in. Jack and Cryptic and Bourbon are coming in for Inters. TB, Jack doing the same. Little double stack on the Red Bull part. Let's see as these guys come out. Bourbon is going to be ahead. Maxwell is going to be just stuck behind Jack. But adds Paul and Beatnik yet to pit. So Bourbon is going to inherit the lead again. Looks like we have an issue in Sector 2. That is... oh, that's the unknown. That's the random. But Ads is coming in. So is Paul And Paul didn't brake hard enough. Gets a speeding penalty. So Bourbon will take the lead now. And Cryptic... actually, no. Ads might beat him. Ads is going to be Cryptic. No, never mind. Cryptic just shuts Ads off. I thought Ads was going to get him, but no. Ads shuts him off. But Ads gets shuts off by Cryptic. Cryptic stays P2. But now, with only 10 to go in the rain, let's see how these guys will do to wrap up this race. Did DRS get disabled? No, DRS is still enabled. No, DRS is still active. DRS still active. This time Jack, by the way, want to put in a little more points, is putting that pressure on TB for P6. See, as we're on board with Jack, he's got the pace, he's got the room. Can he make the move? And he does. He is on the inside of TB. TB attempts a crossover, but Jack, too quick. Jack gets up into P5. Oh, by the way, top 10 as it sits is Bourbon, Cryptic, Ads, Polygod, Jack, TB, Maxwell, Eon, Redfire, and Beatnik. That is your top 10. But remember, Polygod does have that 5-second speeding penalty, so he will fall basically, he'll fall to P7. He'll put Jack up to P5, TB to P6, and P5, yeah. Jack will be P4, TB will be P5, and Maxwell will be P6. But if Ian can actually close that gap just a little bit, he may get up into... He might get P8, and a safety car plays again. And this time it's the random net wrecks. There's Red Raider. Good to see you here. So, yeah, very unfortunate. Paul got in P4. Yeah, it is a random because I don't know this guy. I don't even know this guy that wrecked. I really don't know him. Is he really one of the drivers? Or is he... How come I didn't even notice him? Okay, well, Sather's telling me that he is a reserve guy. Okay. Must have been somebody I missed, I guess. Maybe? Is this someone I missed? I don't remember. I don't remember seeing it in the list, you know? Who knows? Well, anyways, so safety car is here, so everything is going to play the part here. So once the safety car crosses the line, we're going to be on lap 30 of 36. We only have 6 laps left to go in this race. Bourbon is the leader. Cryptic is sitting in second. Ads is third. Jack is 4. TB 5. Maxwell 6. Eon 7. Redfire's 8. Polygod's 9. Oh, okay, so Paul got pit, so he got rid of that penalty. Beatnik's sitting in P10. Rest of the field is Alfie, Zakaria, DeChiller, and midfield. Now, DeChiller, we haven't said much about him in a while. Especially after his mishaps that he's had so far this race. So... let's see. So currently, from those in the grid to where they are, for all the drivers right now, currently the biggest mover is Redfire. Started 14th. He's up in 8th. And currently, out of the active drivers, the one that fell the most is the Chiller, losing 5 spots. So once the safety car comes in, which should be this time, there'll be 5 laps to go in this race. Bourbon in control of the field. Bourbon looking to go for his third win in RPL F1. Bourbon, by the way, just want to note, he is P6 in the driver's standings as a reserve driver. Cryptic, by the way, who's in second in this race, is only 9th in the standings. And Jack, for Jack, he's P5. So Bourbon, and we go, will we run it? He's gone! And Cryptic, sort of napping just a little bit on the restart. We're off and away again. Here is Anvort. So barging his way onto TB, gets himself into, well, maybe not. Try to get P5, but gets shoved off, but gets sucked to a halt by Jack and TB in their scrap. And Red Fire, by the way, took complete advantage of the restart. He just got into 7th. At the chiller right now, currently just outside the points in P11 right now. Paul got hanging on in P8. Now Paul got, by the way, is on new tires and Beatnik and DeChiller battling for P10. That's the last point in this race. And Maxwell, by the way, putting in some heavy pressure on the TB. TB is being hounded all over by Maxwell. Had an issue in the first safety car restart, trying to recover to get some valuable points back. And Maxwell currently sitting in peace. Bourbon, by the way, is pulling off a bit of a gap. 1 second clear of Cryptic. But Cryptic, by the way, 1.4 seconds clear of Ads. Ads, by the way, holding strong and firm against Jack. Ads is actually doing pretty decently so far in this race. Literally, his debut in RPL F1 from equal, and he's doing pretty dang stellar. Hanging on in P3. Ray McLaren looking for a podium. But as these last few laps tick by, I mean, this can all change in an instant. Something happens. I mean, I don't want to be that kind of commentator curse, but who knows? We'll see what happens. I mean, Bourbon currently keeping that 1 second gap ahead of Cryptic. Well, meanwhile, Cryptic's lead over Ads is increasing to over 2 seconds as Paul God sneaks the wheel in the Red Fire in turn 1, but backs off. And Paulo staying in control in the P7, and Alfie has wrecked in turn 4, but it's too late for a safety car to come out. Alfie done for the event. That is very unfortunate on his end. So there you go. So let's see what will happen here. This is going to be pretty close, to say the least. I mean, Bourbon is looking to be on point to getting his 3rd win in RPL. Jack, by the way, is still all over the back of Ads to try to get that final podium spot. last time we had 3 different teams on a podium, it was back in France, and in this case it was Flynn winning, Bourbon second, and Joseph Loki was third. So Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLaren, which ironically, that's what they are right now. But there's only 2 laps to go. And Bourbon pulling further away from Cryptic, 1.6 seconds clear. TB hanging on in P5 as that rain is starting to come down pretty heavy. But we enter the final lap. We're going to be entering the final lap very shortly. So the final lap is upon us here in Zandvoort, and looks like Jack is not. I don't know. Jack doesn't seem to have enough power to try to get to ads to get that P3. And Paul got battling Red Fire. They're side by side. Red Fire gets a little loose exiting turn 1. Red Fire sneaking to move, but gets chopped off by Paul God. Paul God, very effective maneuver. Gets himself into P7. That's 6 points for him. And looks like this, and that is going to be a wrap, folks. That's for sure. As actually the Chiller, look at the snuff off on Eon. The 2 old Ferrari teammates going wheel to wheel, and the Chiller clears Eon to get there, and he's done it. And contact! But as he comes around the last corner, Bourbon will win in Zandvoort. Cryptic will come home second, and his first race, and is a first podium for Ads. Ads gets third, Jack 4, TB 5, Maxo 6, Polgog wrecks across the line in 7th, Redfire is 8th, and Eon has wrecked out. Well, what happened there? Now, Redfire marked driver today, but I'm gonna say no. Redfire is not driver today. It's the McLaren of Ads. Ads is driver today, in my opinion. So, a chaotic event to say the least. So Bourbon picks up the win. Cryptic is second. Ads is third. Jack 4, TB 5, Maxwell 6, Paul got 7, Redfire in 8th, Beatnik in 9th, and Zakaria rounds out the top 10. So, and Jack, by the way, fastest lap of the event by 1/10 of a second on Bourbon. So, what a great race, to say the least. We've seen a lot of fighting, we've seen some drama, we've seen a lot here. But that is going to conclude the stream for tonight. But the action continues for next week. Starting up for on Wednesday, Equal will be in action for round 3. This time they will be racing around in Austria. Friday, F1 Tier 2 will be racing in Silverstone. And then next Saturday, F2 will kick off round 3, also in Silverstone, while F1 heads to the Temple of Speed, that is Monza. So, from RPL Streets, this is Tiny and I will say good night, and have a great one.